when you finish doing a reality TV show, you're not going to be famous enough to be able to quit your job, but you won't be able to go to work for a year. Everyone at the pubs will want to fight you. And then after a period of time, you'll end up finding yourself spiraling into a big sea of what ifs and what could have happened.
And with the birth, with the the boom of reality TV, do you think there's a lot of scarred people out there?
Fucking oath.
It's like the footy star that retires and then all of a sudden they're not in the limelight anymore. What do they do?
Well, I can't remember who it was, but there was a really good article from one of the big wig EPs who's been doing reality TV for 15 years, and one of her quotes was about how when you finish doing a reality TV show, you're not going to be famous enough to be able to quit your job, but you won't be able to go to work for a year. Everyone at the pubs will want to fight you. And then after a period of time, you'll end up finding yourself spiraling into a big sea of what ifs and what could have happened. I mean, that's probably only half her quote. I don't have it, but it's a version of that. And I think it's so true. I think it's really deceiving, honestly.
I think you guys are being hard on yourselves in taking on that responsibility. I think that's a bigger, higher level of.
At reality TV level, I agree.
Yeah,
and I 100% agree.
I think there's that you could I don't know how it might be a bit of a grey area, that line in between, but you could probably put them in two different camps. I think when you're kind of making your documentaries, you're kind of finding people who are probably quite passionate about what they do and really want to share it, whatever it is.
Well, we're filming them in their life.
And you're making relatielships with them in their life. And then nothing reality. It's almost like they're coming in on a game show sort of idea. And it kind of runs. I mean,
especially these days, like they're signing up to become famous. They're signing up because they want that 15 minutes of fame, and then they want for that to go on and lead to something else. That's 100% why they're signing up. That's how they cast them these days. Everything like that, where we might just be embedded in their job, their day-to-day thing. So when we leave, they just go back to doing their job. They just don't have a couple of annoying people standing in the corner doing something.
Yeah, no,
asking them how they feel.
It's a little one for you, Az.
Oh,
I know you're driving after this, mate.
I think the best way and the simplest way to look at it, in my humble opinion, is in a documentary, you're trying to tell the story from the inside out. So you're trying to really get into their lives and get to know them and tell their story authentically, in their words, as much as possible. With reality shows are constructed by producers sitting in a nice office, coming up with all these format points, and they're telling those stories from the outside in. So they're creating the world and the scenarios and then dropping people in there that they've cast, hoping they're going to get fireworks and people that polarize and people that fight, people that, the audience will fall in love with and they could potentially run a spin-off show with somewhere, So it's, but I do agree, I don't know what that line is, and I spend a lot of time in development now, like coming up with shows, and even that in itself can be really intimate. You spend a lot of time getting to know them because you know that the bit of tape that you make at the end of your development period is what's going to sell the show and potentially get you more business and tell their story, etc. So it's a tricky one, and I haven't figured this one out yet either, but at some point, I think the hit rate is 1 in 20 good ideas you might actually get up and turn into a show. So out of that, if I've gone and spent time with 20 people, but I only get to do one show out of that, so I've got to say goodbye to 19 people over the course of 18 months and say, well, sorry, it's not good enough, or sorry, I can't do this anymore, I can't devote my time. Again, it's almost like, sorry, we can't be friends anymore because I've got to be friends with this person over here because I might be able to get that show up.
That's a little bit
fucking hard.
A little bit tougher even because you haven't gone through the process. It's like, oh, we've looked at your life and people have deemed it not interesting enough.
Totally.
That's a little bit of a slap in the face.
It's even harder when you're trying to cast because so much of TV now, I believe, is all about cast. It's almost like casting character first and story second. right? So like part of my process when I'm trying to find a good story or a good series to develop is to find the cast. And so what I'll try and do really early on is just in those first introductions where I'm just trying to feel my way through it and I haven't committed too much, I probably haven't even met them face to face yet, I'll get them to send me an iPhone video so I can see them and I can see whether or not they can hold their eye contact, you know, so they're not doing this all the time or clocking the camera or whatever it is, you know, the stuff that we can't use. And also see if they can tell a story. Does the camera light up when they smile? You know, really basic stuff, but fuck, it's important. Because if they can't tick a few of those really simple boxes, there's no show.
So you do that even before, just to kind of keep some separation between you and...
A little bit, yeah. Because that way, if they come back and they're not great talent, they might have the most interesting life and be the most interesting people, and they could be someone that I'd love to watch the footy with on a Friday night. But in that side of my job, it doesn't mean it doesn't matter, because that part of my job is trying to find a story and a show to sell, and if the talent's not good enough, it's just not worth pursuing, no matter how great the access or the story is. You and I have been down that before. I won't talk about exactly what that show was, but we had we can't, because if the people are listening and they hear us talking about how they weren't good enough talent, it'll just it won't be good.
You know how we were filming at your house that week, mate?
That's right. Yeah, I remember.
But it's true. Like we had the most amazing access, and it was a great story. It would have been perfect, but the talent just wasn't good enough. And we knew it from the start. We could have saved ourselves time and money.
Definitely.
But anyway.